It's the 11th of March 2019. Good morning and welcome to the best morning show here in Ghana. My name is Josh Quinn, and coming up in the news this morning, residents of Tanaso Praso construct illegal speed ramps on Sefri Bibiani Road to check speeding. We will also update you on Hakim, 13-year-old street boy who has now received support. Teaching assistant at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology manufactures low-cost incubator for poultry industry. And on the foreign front, Indonesian woman freed in murder case. Details of these and many more coming up in the next 30 minutes. My name is George Quinn. We are live on DSTV channel 279. On to our very first story. Residents of Tanaso Praso in the Bibiani Ahiasu municipality have constructed illegal speed ramps on the Sefri Bibiani Road to check speeding and pedestrian knockdowns. Residents told Ibrahim Abubakar they've been compelled to take the action to protect lives due to the failure of authorities to construct speed ramps.
The tarring of the road brought a sigh of relief to motorists. However, communities along the stretch have had to bear the brunt of speeding vehicles. Residents of Tanaso Praso, for instance, said fatal accidents occur almost every week. Last week, 2 school children were knocked down and killed while attempting to cross the road. This accident compelled residents to construct speed ramps to control speeding. Though the action is illegal, the residents say several appeals to the local assembly and the highway authority to construct speed ramps along the road have proved futile.
We cannot afford losing our kids. We really need speed ramps here. We are taking this initiative to stop the loss of lives.
The drivers are not patient on the road. This is a signal to government that if they are not ready to help us, we will help ourselves.
Motorists are, however, not pleased with the action of the residents.
What the residents are doing here is very sad. This is affecting our cars. We are not against the speed ramps, but the right thing should be done. Authorities must see to it as soon as possible. If someone is seriously sick and needs an emergency attention, these speed ramps can result in the death of the person.
The angry residents have vowed to construct more ramps to compel motorists to slow down anytime they approach the community. Meanwhile, the Ghana Highway Authority has declined to comment.
And a teaching assistant at the Department of Animal Science at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has manufactured a low-cost indigenous incubator for the poultry industry. David Wakpai is hoping to make the incubator easily accessible to poultry farmers across the country to increase production.
The supply of quality day-old chicks is crucial for increased poultry production. However, access to day-old chicks with low disease risk is a challenge for Ghanaian poultry farmers. High-quality incubators for hatching of chicks are mostly being imported and expensive for local poultry farmers to afford. Realizing this challenge, 25-year-old David Wapai started researching into affordable ways of producing incubators whilst in his second year at the university. After almost 3 years of research activities, David has built a 600-capacity fully automated incubator for hatching of quality day-old chicks. The agricultural biotechnology graduate was compelled to build the incubator after struggling to access one for his small-scale turkey farm.
Already I had a background in engineering, though I'm not an engineering student, though I tried to build some. So with my first trials, I had some success. I continually did some improvements on it, and I finally built a fully automated one. That was in my final year.
David's incubator recorded an 80% hatchery rate when tested at the Olympio hatchery at the KNUST, where 2,000 capacity incubator has been installed. The incubator comes with an automatic temperature and humidity controls, automatic egg turning system, automatic ventilation, over-limit protection controls, and warning alarm system. David plans to go into mass production to help farmers to access affordable incubators.
I realized I was not the only one in need of incubators. A lot of farmers were in need of the incubators, but because of the cost, they couldn't get one. So that was when I started putting everything in place to go into large-scale production.
Ghana currently imports about 250,000 metric tons of broiler chicken annually for local consumption. The country spends over $350 million annually on meat importation, a greater portion being broilers. To save the local poultry industry from collapsing, there is the need for increase in local poultry production. A senior lecturer at the Department of Animal Science, KNUST, Dr. Jacob Al-Hassan Hamidu, says the poultry industry has high prospect if farmers get things right. David's locally manufactured incubator is expected to help reduce the production of poultry, since farmers can now hatch their own eggs instead of importing day-old chicks. The young graduate says he has the capacity to build larger incubators if assisted financially. Perhaps government can assist David to go into mass production by contracting him to build an incubator for each district to increase the country's poultry production.
Such a great innovation there. We hope it brings some sort of relief to the poultry industry. And now to the western region, where poor roads in the Takwa Nsoye municipality are hampering access to health care, and residents want government to ensure the roads are tarred. Here's a report by Stanley Bleo.
The Takwa Nsoye municipality is one of the busiest commercial places in the western region due to mining activities. The population of the municipality, according to the 2010 Population and Housing Census, stands at 90,477, with 46,662 males and 43,815 females. Commuting and access to primary health care is done with much difficulty, as most roads are in deplorable state. The highway that connects Takoradi, Takwa, Bogoso through to Prestia has been left in this state for years. Referrals to the Fiankwanta Government Hospital in the regional capital are always not easy. There's no functioning ambulance in Takwa, so patients on referral conveyed in commercial vehicles are at the mercy of dust from the poor roads. Motorists are equally left at the mercy of the dust.
The road is bad, and so we were happy when we heard the news that it would be fixed. However, nothing has been done. We are striving to endure the dust.
Areas badly affected include Banchim, Ahwichieso and Tamso. It is 3 p.m. Friday afternoon, but vehicles already have their headlights on. Pedestrians and residents have to rely on nose masks to protect themselves.
The nose mask is what is saving us from dust inhalation. We spend the little money we have on nose masks for our families.
Companies, overwhelmed by the intensity of the dust, deploy tankers to water the road. In 2017, the road was awarded to a contractor for emergency repairs, but not much has been done. The Sabia construction firm who secured the contract has not been able to deliver after constructing culverts. We gathered funds have not been released by the central government.
23rd March 2018, the contract was awarded, even though the contractor was there doing emergency. But this time, with a contract to do the job, but lack of funds.
But residents want the contractor changed.
The contract was.
And still in the region, workers at the Takwa Wood Village have accused their leadership for conniving with the municipal assembly to relocate them. They say shops constructed to aid their relocation have not been made to benefit them.
It is a busy day and has been in operation for close to 2 decades as the Wood Village is situated at a strategic location. The assembly also rakes in revenue from here. However, constant air pollution caused by emission of carbon dioxide through burning of waste necessitated moves by the municipal assembly to relocate the entire Wood Village. The assembly also alleged the activities impede cars conveying patients to the hospital during emergencies. The Takwa Nsoye Municipal Assembly acquired the land and developed it. The new site is ready to serve the interests of wood sellers. The new site has been designed to include washrooms, water system and rubbish collection bay.
Definitely they will pay something. It's like the normal rent. It's not, they are not going to pay something huge like advance payment. Look, the rates have been fixed already.
The municipal chief executive for Takwa Nsoye, Gilbert Kenneth Asma, said the assembly will continue to develop programs to meet the needs of residents. But the carpenters plying their business at the Wood Village say they were not considered in the location of the shops at the new site.
Our leadership is in bed with the municipal assembly, so they don't listen to us. We were not privy to any discussion on their relocation. The leadership is being selective.
Operators of the sawmill are of the view relocating will burden them since they will incur costs moving their machines.
Our machines
are heavy and it would cost us a lot to have them transported to the new site. The leadership should have communicated that to the assembly, but they refused.
Chairman of the Wood Sellers Association denied the assertions.
All stakeholders were duly engaged before the decision on the relocation was taken. I can tell you on authority that everyone would benefit at the new site because it is spacious.
Foster Koku has been working at the Wood Village for over 4 years. He tells the news team provision has not been made to aid their stay at the new site.
Hospital first aid but
the assembly did not include a clinic to provide first aid to workers in times of emergency in its plans, and this is not good.
Sale of wood products is a lucrative venture in the Takwa Nsoye municipality.
And if you're just tuning in, you're watching news here on Newday with me, George Quinn. We are live on DSTV channel 279. And now Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bamia has called on the youth, especially those in the Zongo community, to resist any attempt to draft them into engaging in any antisocial activities, especially political vigilantism. Speaking on the 51st anniversary celebration of the birth of Prophet Muhammad in Kumasi, the Vice President was worried many of the people said to be engaged in political vigilantism and other antisocial behavior are drawn from the Zongo community.
No political party can be excused from this rise in political vigilantism. We equally blame MPP, NDC, all of the political parties are equally to blame. Unfortunately, it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us as the Zongo community. It doesn't help us as a Muslim community. What concerns us as a people should be our education, getting jobs, and being able to grow our businesses. We therefore have to ask the politicians when they come to speak to us, what is your message? I don't want to hear about come and help us fight. I want to hear about jobs. I want to hear about education. I want to hear about business. So what we want you to do is to form jobilantes. Jobilantes, not vigilantes.
Well, Abdul Hakim Al-Hassan Arimayao, the 13-year-old street boy who won an essay competition and represented Ghana in China, will no longer be on the streets. This is because Stanbic Bank has adopted him, offered to take care of him, his needs, and a full educational scholarship. And here's a report by Alfred Okanse.
Hakim, why? Or China? Why they didn't call China?
There's going to be an essay competition, so that there is just taking one student out of one school in the whole Ghana. So they chose our school because it's near to the school. So we wrote the essay that I got to win.
But the problem is that they have nowhere to sleep. So from school, they go back to the streets.
Hakim's story generated global response after it was aired, with both Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians offering help. Hakim's turnaround story began with a surprise visit by the Back to School from the Streets campaigner, Rahim Banda.
Hakim, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. And over the 60,000 children in the streets, our aim is not to add to it, to inspire the rest to at least, if not get into a classroom, get into a vocation or something.
Village of Hope at Gomoa Fete in the Central Region made a request for Hakim to sit for an assessment exam. Hakim's best friends on the streets, Ephraim and Peter, joined him in the morning to help him prepare for his trip. We set off from the premises of TV3. The 1 hour 45 minutes journey was that of mixed emotions for Hakim. We were welcomed by Araba Ejay, the head teacher of Hope Christian Academy in the Village of Hope. Hakim was ushered in to write the English and mathematics exams. After an hour and 15 minutes, Hakim was done answering the 60 questions. We waited for his results. He scored 93%. We left the Village of Hope with the hope that the end of Hakim's struggle on the streets is near. Then came the call from Stanbic Bank to meet Hakim. He was welcomed by the Chief Executive Officer of the bank, Al-Hassan Andani. It turned out that Al-Hassan Andani had what will be the best news Hakim has ever heard all his life.
Our plan is to give Hakim full scholarship so that he can achieve his entire life ambition. And we have spoken to our development partner, the SOS Village, who have agreed to absorb him. And we already have houses there that we maintain. So we have 2 houses, we have 20 kids like him that we maintain, so he'll be part of that. And SOS school is a very good school as well. I'm not saying where he is not good enough, but we will make sure that Hakim's ambitions are achieved completely.
4 years of struggle on the streets has ended with a promise of a bright future ahead for Hakim Al-Hassan Arimayao. Alfred Okanse, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, God works in mysterious ways, and meanwhile, Stanbic Bank has offered to adopt Hakim's best friends as well. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the bank, Al-Hassan Andani, the gesture is in furtherance of the bank's commitment to give hope to the less privileged.
Hakim has been on the streets with his friends, Ephraim and Peter, over the last 4 years. The boys go back to the streets after school, clean windscreens in traffic at night, and sleep at the same place. They were always seen together. After the news of Hakim's scholarship, his friends were happy. They wished him well. Ephraim and Peter left Hakim, hoping they would one day get support. Hakim wasn't going to leave them after all. Stanbic Bank had decided to offer the same scholarship package for Hakim's best friends.
To identify the cause of the increasing number of children on the streets, Stanbic Bank has committed seed money of 50,000 Ghana cedis for research.
We want to be able to deal with the other Hakims on the street in a more structured manner by commissioning a study. And I was telling, we will put 50,000 initially on the table to get experts who know a thing or two about social development to commence a study on streetism, so that we can all understand, what are the social forces that creates it, and then we can turn the attention of policymakers and other social and corporate entities that will want to deal with this problem to do it in a structured manner.
Hakim and his friends, Ephraim and Peter, will be in the same school, side by side, pursuing their dreams. Hakim thanks Stanbic Bank for the help given his friends.
I want to say a very big thank you and God bless you to Stanbic for adding two of my friends to me in the school, so that I and them will be like in the school together, because being on the street it's not easy.
In a world where you can be anything, just be kind, because it costs nothing to be kind. And on to the foreign front, the Indonesian woman accused of killing Kim Jong-nam, half-brother of the North Korea's Kim Jong-un, has been freed after charges against her were dropped, and Siti Aisha had been accused of smearing VS-Nev agent on Mr. Kim's face in Kuala Lumpur airport in 2017. She and her co-accused Vietnamese Duan Thi Huang deny murder and say they thought they were part of a TV prank. The brazen killing at an international airport left observers stunned and gripped international headlines, and the prosecutor in the case requested the murder charge be dropped without giving a reason. The judge approved the request, saying Siti Aisha is freed, according to AFP news agency. However, this does not amount to an acquittal. And on that note, we end news here on Newday. Remember, you can get more news updates on our website. It's 3news.com. Newday continues right after this break. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your morning.
Beautiful Monday, 11th March exactly, and today is a beautiful day to celebrate because one of our great men here, Mr. Achu, is celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Achu, and may God richly bless you. Right, good morning.
Well, sometimes it's difficult to say
good morning.
Particularly when you have 157 people losing their lives. It was a fantastic weekend after that incident came in, and all of a sudden everything just went blank. Our condolences to the families there. We're told that our president has tweeted and sent his condolences to the people of Ethiopia. But it's sad. I hate aviation accidents, particularly when, look, I have said that if you are involved in a car accident, you can escape, okay, depending on perhaps luck, but Charlie, you're suspended in the air. There is problem. You cannot fly. You cannot escape, and it's a sad day. Actually, my weekend was totally thrown away by this accident. We can only pray for the souls of those who have perished.
We certainly do.
But all the same, good morning to you. Another week is starting on the show from now to 9 a.m. Our job is to get you excited and get you out of bed to go to work. Johnny is on the other side of the dial. He's on 3FM this morning. Everyone hear his voice. Tune in right there. He will be on the show this morning. We're here to serve you breakfast.
Right. But I wish Johnny was here this morning because I was getting ready to troll him. You know, Man United went against Arsenal yesterday and Arsenal won. And for most of them, they're still living in a mirage like, oh, just give us a few more minutes, we'll be able to do something. And I thought, oh, guys, wake up.
Well, sometimes, you see, if a video assistant referee decides to give you the chance to move into the next stage of a tournament, you tend to believe that everything is well until you meet the proper referee on the field.
Anyway, but condolences to Man United fans. I certainly wish that this week you can wake up, rise up from, because I mean, they throw a lot of people when they win, so it's time for us to be on their backs. I certainly hope they can wake up this morning and shake off the pain and go to work and do what we expect them to do.
All right, it's a wonderful weekend. We're starting off, as usual, the newspapers will be here this morning, show a lot of news. We'll have to take a look at them, review them, and also Daily Rant. You saw what we're told had been happening at the Osu Castle here in Accra. What do you make of
government's response to the whole thing. I heard the Vice President this morning talk about jobilantism. I was like, really?
That's a new one there.
Yeah, this is Ghana. Yeah, we can find answers for everything, no matter how bad the situation is. Jobilantism. So we want to find out from you exactly what you think about government's response to the expose there. I said the guys are looking for jobs. Do you really think they were looking for jobs? On Daily Rant, we'll have to deal with that. But again, also this morning, we're going to take you through a whole lot of issues. We'll have the former health minister in the studio, a member of the NDC's legal team, Mr. Alex Segbefia. He'll be here with us, and we'll find out exactly what's been happening. And on entertainment this morning, Dada KD is walking through the studio. I'm sure you haven't heard from him for a very long time. A packed lineup this morning, plus a lot of your comments, your views, your opinions on our social media platforms. That's what's up this morning.
But this weekend also, there was good news. You know, Alfred Okante, broke out with a documentary concerning a young man on the street,
the Hakim guy.
And Stambik has come to adopt him. And I'm happy that this young man is finally getting off the streets. Not only himself, but two of his friends as well. And I can't, you know, for me, it was a very great story, but I was also thinking about the other children who remain on the streets and what we as a nation and what government is planning to do actively to make sure that these young ones do have a bright future. Because, Bright, whether we like it or not, they are Ghanaians, and they are our responsibility, particularly because they are children, to make sure that the state takes care of them, to give them that, you know, nurturing environment, to make sure they succeed. The onus lies on us, because if we just see them as street children and ignore them all the time, they will turn out to become probably the vigilantes we're seeing today. They will not have any jobs. They're going to be miscreants. It's going to come back to haunt us. And so I'm happy when these children get off the streets, and I hope that the story of Hakim encourages others to also strive to do better. That even if they're on the street, they should still try to gain education at least. They should try to improve themselves and know that there's more to the, you know, to life than being on the street. Because I was inspired, right, in this, you know, difficult world, to have a young man go to school and then after school go and ply the streets and then have to look for somewhere to sleep, and you can't tell where your next meal is even coming from. But he still had the hope. He was brilliant. He went to take this, you know, test, and out the essay competition he won, and this is what gave that, you know, platform for him to even be able to relate to the Stambik people. And so I'm happy for him. I'm elated, I'm excited, and I pray that he breaks the boundaries, you know,
and
the
get
sky
to the heights
is not even his limit. I think he can go beyond, because that inspiration he gives us, for me, I was just so excited about it, and I hope we keep following him up to see, you know, what he makes out of himself.
Certainly it's a big story, but then it brings into focus. Now, if for instance, organizations like Stambik and all the others who are supporting can come in and do this, why is the state that has all the resources, all the power, all that it takes to mold and shape a young person into a fully developed human being, why can't the state do this? I mean, look, if you drive in along that stretch, the gender ministry has on several occasions gone to pick young children from there in attempt at rehabilitating them. The question to ask is, why do they come back? Okay, what is it that the state is unable to do? And so, and I remember when Nano Yelitha was the gender minister, a bus full of kids were picked from there, were told they were going to be sent to a place, and then they came back. There are several others. Look, if you drive around Accra, Dakuman, Newtown, Kokomlemlem, and you see the number of kids who sleep openly at night, you'll be amazed. What is it that the state is doing wrong? If private individuals can do it, why is it that the state that has all the resources can't do it or is failing to do it? I think that this should get those involved, those who have the powers, okay, to remember that one day they will be made to answer for some of these things. Because we have given you our powers, you have all our resources. Your job is to pick these persons and make them do what is right. Why are we failing?
Right, I think it's just not a priority. We're not passionate enough about it, because I remember, like you said, when the gender ministry cleared the children off the streets, we even realized that there was a challenge of where to even shelter them, where to keep them, and that's the thing.
Is it beyond the means of the state?
Even if the state doesn't have the funds to do, if you were consciously thinking about it, you could partner private businesses to make sure that these shelters are built for the children. And again, it also, reminds me of the fact that we've broken down our mentoring system, where if the child doesn't have anyone to look up to, then they're not inspired to go there and do anything great, because probably all they've seen all their lives is living out on the streets. And so for them, they don't aspire to anything more than staying on the streets, because he knows that what you need to survive is a bit of money to be able to purchase some food to eat. And once they get that in a day, they're fine. But when we start mentoring people at a younger age, grooming them to make sure they appreciate what there is to life apart from being on the streets, then they probably would look up to someone, either a pilot, a policeman, all these things. But we don't do enough of that. And so the child, when they're taken away into shelters, what are they going to do there? Play games, chat amongst themselves, and then, of course, that kind of lifestyle is not what they're used to. They're used to fending for themselves now, and so they want to get back on the streets and do exactly that.
I hope, Amais, that someone is listening, someone's watching, and that we'll hope to see a lot more of a case picked up from the street. But let me send warm greetings this morning to my people in the Bodi district, Mr. Kosia Mankwa, the district chief executive, Richard, Razak, Ebenezer, and all the great guys there. Was a warm reception when we went there. We're grateful, and thanks for the good work we're doing. We hope to see you in Accra. We'll talk about a lot more of the work you're doing. We're also praying for the young boy we met there, Patrick, 8 years, cerebral palsy. We're trying to see how we'll find a way for him out. Good morning once again.
Where's Bodi?
It's in Western North, the new Western North region, and quite around the Seshu area. Exciting place. All right, on Daily Round this morning, you heard about government's response to the expose at the castle here in Accra. Government says people looking for jobs. Is that what you think it is? We're asking you to run with us.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Rant here on Newday. My name is George Quinn. We are live on DSTV channel 279. An award-winning journalist, Manasseh Azuri, has come out with an undercover investigation that reveals that there's a militia group operating at the annex of the Osu Christian War Castle, and they have a membership of more than 5,000 people across the country. And according to the documentary, efforts are being made by the national security to dissolve or close down the office of this very group, and government has come out to respond to that. They said they don't have any idea of operations of these people, and that the documentary also failed to highlight the fact that that office was dissolved in October 2008. And so we want to know if people are satisfied about government's response with regards to this very documentary, and even if we can win the fight against vigilantism in Ghana. This is Daily Run. Let's keep talking.
Police car. Yankasa state car I am now yadiano akobo MPs name penny for asoma saa no mbaka no say aban say wonim hohwe nti say wonim hohwe ya oho no nya akokobuo castle hono no nya akokobuo gafara ye frɛ castle a oho no ye birbi ne o mote abrofo yi no mo bate say saa castle hono ye den te obi timi kotreni security hono aban abaka no kyerada say wonim hohwe na ya ate no saa kyerada me nche no ento asom and yeah program when the Monday say ko jom proma nkroma ehwe opom kroma say wa hwe say wan hwe no fa sekura na ahwe a won bombo no mra TV3 na mo clip na wante afutuo we ya memeto no because me say no obi ya de na yeyi a ani fa so say chenchena say yankofa obi foforo mbra aya abanba na abanba na abanko
into government response we dey no okay
ntum ana meja tum say government response ne wa ina aba o ma respond ye na no ayewa so wago no ya say state car na police for team soldier team na obi asa no kaka boto bi wanenam farama mu wanam form ebo amanfo asom na ya say yenim no enka ho aban so aba di bange say they don't know them na minister of den akwakotena ase committee na enim ka say commission na enim say wono wanim obo I don't know them so inti say ya president we na donde na say wagina baby di bibi papa magana no obi free baby asa kotoku abese your friend your government come state cam ababo abayina soma ya koya na say yabaya.
Ekufuado failed in terms of security. The NPP government had failed because say to me yes security setup and a bodyguard you know on why fight and I could set it up Sukasta because Sukasta
but they've come out to say they don't know about the operations at the castle.
Are they sleeping? If they don't know the operation, are they sleeping? What are they telling us? And into that will not tell you I'm coming today, but due to your vigilance. When you are very vigilant, you must know, sir, will be bad baby. They shouldn't tell us they don't know. Are they sleeping on job?
Because even prior to election, called South Africa for be by my training and call for. This government know what that intention that.
The same government that want to fight vigilantism today. Barest minimum.
It's a statement. It's just a mere talk. You can't tell us people should come.
Also, boys want to organize it. Boys want to organize it. Don't buy.
The commission is sitting. So we no more let's.
Okay. This government in security no one who's our failure. He has some intention about 2020 election so because they are all fighting. But inward, you have something. I would see now ready. We are not safe in 2020 election because our security system has failed. The IGP must be questioned.
He should resign. IGP should resign.
Yes.
He must.
True. Yeah.
He must.
But gonna be a resignation.
Yes. Oh. Yeah.
So okay, when he resigns, what next?
You said when he resigns.
What next?
Yes, leadership by example. When he resigns, it tells. It will speak a lot.
Me name send I describe this current government because totally they failed. I say why ye duane na enchene in nim.
That's a bit medium, Zana.
To me. Oh, how can you eat it?
Okay, I don't like too much salt. I don't like too much salt.
Who better now, Betty?
Yeah, I say,
looking at this dissolving of vigilante and all those stuffs, they should move on. They should clear them from the system. They should go far away. They shouldn't be part of our country. Why? Why do we have those security agencies? As in, the army is there, the police is there, the fire service, and all those people. They are also protecting the country. So why do we have all those people and then this vigilante group they are talking about?
Me per se, maybe Sammy Papayojina was after our president reading the State of Nation address, the last statement about vigilante. Me per se will be sending mommy.
It's been like some weeks ago. So Ubekai. All my nations addressed. What he said about
cosmetics? You can say cosmetics. I had to say why I been coin. We sang coin man and pa. Now I saw Soroka Karabi, I coco, no go coco, no, they are abribiri, I be a name so. As some man and I could stated of the nation address. And one I can say 1 June to a sama wakan watch. I know.
But if you know, let him know, like a bit my
in penny forecast, and me say, penny obiamante. Asemo Okai say he's giving them some days not on one casamat nase areas of it about that vigilance and one. He's giving
whom?
Okay. So what you say? Obia pointed the hand to the government, but the government is forcing. Let's look at the opposition. The Hawks near the idea. He's forcing. Inti penny say Obiamanti want to make us a 50 precope a way. The man is working endlessly to put a stop to this vigilance.
George, look, when this man is telling us opening the other band, that is a cancasa, maybe you into your hearing. But to me, it doesn't go like that. If you are telling me opening sorry precope, so you mean if Togolese are coming here to attack us, so they shouldn't give any order because opening a diamante. Is that what you are telling me? So you are telling me you are the meat that President Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, he knew those whom formed the vigilante group.
No, but government said they don't know about the operations at the castle. Mamin Kancho. According to the documentary, their membership is like 5,000 across the country, and documentary said I'm for me group way in 2009, and a minister also said they dissolved it in 2008. In some conflicting with Biaba.
Listen, that is what I'm telling you. That my brother, very handsome man, Kojo Oponkroma, he can become a president of this state, this nation, but he shouldn't learn the lies. He's copying. Why
Where did he lie?
Look at the date. Somebody is talking about 2008. Another person, video. Video doesn't lie. It's a real. You are talking something that they've...
Listen to me.
The date. Master, you date. 2018
No,
and 2019.
the documentary says it was formed in 2009.
Yes.
Upon Kumatu also says
He
they
lied.
dissolved it in 2008. In 2008,
It doesn't call. Okay. Doesn't correspond. Maybe he didn't get his facts right, but I think.
Don't tell us maybe. No. Maybe, what are you talking about?
Wait, you know. Listen to me. All what you are saying, they were coming in. Me know. Yeah, doing 100%. But let me tell you something. My brother says something. You bring in a kasa and then separation of powers. We learned those stuffs way back in JHS and SS.
Yes.
And way back in tertiary.
So you still apply them, don't you?
We still apply them. But it has gone down, as my brother said. Now, look at this. Whereby all the arms of government, as you know, the executive, the social, and so they practice their, they work in terms of what functions and what personnel or something like that. That is the separation of powers, right? Good. Now we're talking about security, fairly, and as a government has failed, not seen that's a more fairly total no. In terms of what security system, when it comes to security, trust me, things are getting worse.
You are fighting vigilante. Now I was setting up a vigilante. Let's pay you.
Answer them. I'm coming.
I think you should
release
this. They don't know about your operations.
Can call him to order. Is it
not? Don't even inform that.
It's about the law.
At Osuka Sona,
yes.
Commission of Inquiry is a no more.
Yes.
Dr. Enin, Eko, Yamanisi from security zone. Because of your
but it's a security zone.
Yes.
And I know he was going to face the commission.
More than 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. More than some people need to me with just like that. To me, and yes, the office of the government, a bio, and I want to me arm for me. It's a just said, come and capture it's a lie.
Let's come to this very issue, sir. Do you think, sir, the fight against political vigilantism in Ghana, we are going to win that fight?
No, indeed, we cannot win. No. No. You see, it's prompting me because the facts are there. Master, I'm coming now. I'm coming. And armed robbers or any person who found himself as an intruder, as an intruder, he doesn't appear with his or her face clearly to the public. They maneuver. Even when you lock your door, sometimes they don't even pass there. They use the window. Am I right? But here is a case. If others are training in the other jurisdictions, under Kufuor, under Mels, under Muhammad, like what my brother is saying, which even is not a fact, they hide. They are in their hideout. But now, when an English person, British, they come to Ghana, they would like to see the what first? My brother, Castle. That is the most important place. And that is where now they are training the vigilante groups. And that
is why one I've already told you, sir. Almost they don't know about your operations, and it was dissolved in 2008. I want to know.
I want to know. Asking you that are they sleeping?
All the parties are almost the same. Yes. I'm telling you, trust me. Maybe the other people being trained somewhere.
Yes.
For other party, you don't know. No, you let me finish. Let me finish. You have spoken a lot. So what I'm saying is that it can be done. If you want to dissolve it, we can do it.
Every talkative talk without facts. He's just a mere talkative. Vigilantism in Ghana can stop. It's the matter about let's sit down, put everything in order, and it will stop. Anything that goes around comes around.
We're not going to just stop it. Programs and once the NP before the comment, I say, and then ABC or ABC will say, and they are paying back. On the payback, when you're ready to stop this thing, come on, San Cretibium.
Until the NADO pick up a file and tell the executive secretary that go to court or go to the parliament and seek for reform or amend some laws and make sure that the vigilante groups are banned. I will never trust him.
Okay, so well, it's been a fruitful discussion. It's been a fruitful discussion, I say. And for the public, they are all for the disbandment of political vigilante groups in the country. And yeah, with the law, I must say. So let's know what you also think, what you know. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's TV3 Ghana. And on Twitter, it's our news TV3. Thanks for watching. Enjoy morning.
Government refutes allegations by the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. The communication director of the Education Ministry, his photograph is here. The finder is carrying the same story and says it is false. Government debunks schools' privatization claim. And then don't run down Ghana to realize narrow partisan interest. The president talking there at Adisado College anniversary. Daily Graphic has that on the front page. Don't point out mistakes, but don't run down nation. President urges or charges Ghanaians. And 6 new regional administrations start work March ending. The Daily Guide, don't destroy Ghana's image, Akufo-Addo warns. And the BNFT says CD woes stagger the repatriation of profits. The boss of the Private Enterprise Federation there talking. We'll get the opportunity to discuss all these stories. My guest this morning, a member of parliament for the Adaklu constituency, a member of the NDC, Honorable Kwame Agbuja is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Bright.
And how was your weekend?
It was not the best.
Right.
2 Sundays ago, sadly, we lost the former MP of Ho East. Ho East is currently a combination of Adaklu and Agotime Eziope.
Right.
Honorable Steve Akoli, after a short illness at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. So Adaklu is in a morning state, my party is in a morning state, so I want to take the opportunity to say condolences to the party, especially Adaklu constituency and Agotime Eziope. So I'm not in a it hasn't been a very beautiful weekend. But apart from that, we thank God for everything.
All right. Our condolences too. And then a member of parliament for Nsum Adoejiri, a member of the MPP, Honorable Frank Anadon is also here. Good morning too.
Good morning.
And your weekend?
It was okay, apart from the disaster recorded, the Ethiopia airline, and also we take the opportunity to extend my condolence to the people of Adaklu and the immediate family for the former MP that we've lost. Apart from that, we are surviving.
It is well. Grateful for your time with us. Let's quickly, you can spend a minute or two on this. The 157 lives lost, I mean, tragic. Ethiopian airline is virtually the Emirates of Africa. 157 lives lost. A quick one on that, then we can move on.
Well, thank you, Bright. We actually share the transport committee. I mean, myself and the respected chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament, Honorable Nodon, actually.
He's a ranking.
And we serve on the transport committee. So we, because it's an industry matter, we got wind of this quite earlier, and it's quite sad. Ethiopian Airline has been doing something that most of us, including Ghana, is yet to do. That is to build an airline around a state, not necessarily a state-owned,
right,
but which is successful, which is expanding by the day. And I know Ghanaian, we have been talking to them on some collaboration in terms of bringing back Ghana Airways or a national flag carrier kind of a thing. And the news of this horrific disaster is just unbearable, knowing very well the aircraft is, I'm told, it's less than 4 months old.
Right. It's a new one.
Yes, it's a new one, and there's no reason why this should happen. So people are pointing fingers at 2 things. Is this something that Boeing should look at? But it's early days yet. But the fact that we lost so many lives in one when there was no issue about weather or anything, people are pointing fingers at mechanical. We have to wait until we get to that point. But sadly, it's happened, and condolences to everybody, especially. We can't afford to have any problem with people not flying. You and I can't get around the world without it. So whatever we can do to ensure that people have confidence in the fact that the safest mode of transportation, as even in this disaster, is air travel, then we can move on and ensure that whatever it is can be removed to make air travel even safer than we have now.
For you, I mean, we sit on the committee. This is very, very bad news.
It is. I mean, I was devastated. I couldn't have agreed more with Kwame. If you look at the history, what Ethiopia Airlines has been doing, I mean, it's almost like the Star of Africa, you know, and I recall the last time we met the sector minister who gave wind of the fact that there's already discussion ongoing, but advanced. We're looking at the possibility of collaboration with the Ethiopian airline. So they are more or less the example that we are all seeking to emulate, particularly in Africa. So it was strange, particularly if you look at snippet of information that came in, that it has taken off just barely 10 minutes, and then it happened like that. It's very sad. It's very, very sad for Africa and the world as well, as large. But we will wait patiently for a thorough investigation to be conducted. Some of these things you can't come atop the situation until investigation is concluded. What I can say is that it will also it will have to nudge the aviation industry in the world, and particularly in Africa, to wake up. This is a wake-up call for us to pay some attention to some concerns. I know I'm not an expert in this area, but I've read about software that are used in a lot of the communications. And going forward, we need to look at it. It's a wake-up call, Ghana, Africa, and the world at large. And I'm even planning to put together a statement to be, if the speaker, is kind enough and is admitted, I'm sure it will be delivered. And then hopefully, he is part of leadership of the committee. We'll probably have to meet with the sector minister to come and tell us something. I mean, we cannot pretend nothing has happened, or because the Ghanaian citizen is not involved, we go to sleep. It's a wake-up call. Kwame mentioned that it's a relatively new
it's a new aircraft.
It's a new aircraft. Yes. But fact be told, right, when you travel more often, and I don't want to mention any names, some of the aircraft, the domestic aircraft, and you look at the nature of it, sometimes it raises some question marks. And I think there should be a big wake-up call onto us, that we begin to revert our mind to the nature of the aircraft, not just the aircraft, other ancillary services that are involved. It's a big industry. The risks that is involved is huge, because the least thing, the effect will be there. And I think that it's a big wake-up call to the world at large for us to begin to take a proper look at the aviation industry again.
Right.
Especially the magnitude of it.
We are also aware that another one from that range, a new range, also had a disaster not too long ago. It fell into the sea somewhere. And that one too, yes, exactly. Lost. And the suggestion is that maybe Boeing is world class. They do all sorts of very important things. I'm sure there are probably more aircraft in the air from a single manufacturer as Boeing than anybody else. But they probably need to, and they will look at whether it's anything to do with mechanical or avionics. Industry players are pointing fingers at certain automations that did not allow the pilot to take control of certain things, because a lot of people don't know the technicalities about aircraft. It's quite a simple thing, but then if it goes wrong as well, and it's on automation at 35,000 or 30,000 feet, it's not that easy to correct. So maybe they should just look at it, and in fact, ironic. The committee in Parliament basically was working on a bill just last week, just to also bring Ghana's ability to investigate aircraft accidents and serious incidents, and we have just on Friday we passed a legislation to allow the minister to to set up an investigation committee to look into those things if it happens in Ghana, and also make sure we put funds aside for them to be able to do that, so that it's not like, oh, it's happened and somebody says, oh, we did not have the money, so that is why we are not able to do these investigations. So I think we should look at this as a very important thing, and work towards the way to ensure that our own airspace is safe. He mentioned some of the aircraft we travel on domestically, and we've complained at the committee level many times that some of them probably may not be airworthy. But hey, this is a new one also falling. So let's just do what's right.
Right.
Just a quick, I would just support a brief what Kwame said about the structures. You know, Nigeria, they have the structure of an independent body that goes into such investigations.
If it happens.
When it happens. And I think, not necessarily when it happens, but it should also be, so they become reactionary. A bit of proactive nature of it is also much more important. A certain independent body which will not be so much aligned, but yet will be able to look and play some proper oversight role, and ensuring that when things are happening will be nudged accordingly, but not waiting until it happens before they go in for the investigation. Nigeria has an example, and we can learn from them.
Grateful. Daily Graphic this morning, point out mistakes, but don't run down nation. President charges Ghana. Now, the Daily Graphic is reporting at this other college, 109 years, the president was there. Now, he urged Ghanaians to have the courage to point out the mistakes of persons running the affairs of state. However, he said that must not be used as an opportunity to run down the nation. When those put in charge of running the affairs of the state get it wrong, we must have the courage, the humility, and the selflessness to say so. That is our patriotic duty. We should also not be seen at every given opportunity to be running down our nation merely to realize our narrow, parochial, and partisan interest. That is not acceptable. That's the president talking. Honorable Dompe, let me start this conversation with you. This is the president suggesting that we should criticize those in charge of affairs, but not find ways to run down the nation. Have governments been that acceptable to certain criticisms? And I mean governments.
Well, you see, I think that, to be fair, I'm not sure the president is directing his call to any individual. It was a generic statement he made, and I think it is on point. It's apt for a sitting president to make that statement. The clarion call urging us to, in as much as we are showing our dissenting views on all manner of issues, we should also have the fundamentals right. And the bottom line is that we have a nation to build. So we shouldn't do things that will denigrate or unnecessarily paint our country in a very bad picture. All over the world, even in the developed jurisdictions, they have some challenges. But when they speak, and the opposition is speaking, and other people's industry players, civil society, they are speaking to it. They are always responsible and taking the ultimate goal of protecting the integrity of our country. But of late, if you look at the media landscape, and sometimes some of the things that we read, it becomes too sensational. And the president, if you look at his past, his history, he's been one of the people who have been part of the struggle in institutionalizing this our democratic dispensation. So he would not be the type who will say that let's gag people. He will entertain views, however unpalatable it may be, even within his own party. If you appreciate the struggle he's gone through to become the flag bearer and all that he's gone through, it has built him. But I'm saying that it appears, I couldn't have agreed more with the president, it appears there's a certain attitude of people indulging unnecessarily in sensationalism. Painting a certain their picture of the state of affairs, and that doesn't help us. For instance, and with the greatest respect to our former president, I respect him. I would never raise a thing against the former president, but I was alarmed when the former president, for instance, gathered diplomats, and then he showed a purported video, even some part of the video turned out not to be true, but largely it was true. But you see, if you do that as a former president, and here, I'm sorry, the discussion seems to be hovering around the former president. I don't think that he is a target, no, but from that action alone, it's something that I've struggled to understand. Because, you see, by-election violence has been with us for some time now. Okay? I'm not saying this to justify it. But if you will be fair, all presidents, this is the first time, against all odds, when you listen to our brothers in the minority, they have said that the commission of inquiry wasn't necessary, and that there was a case of criminal prosecution that we needed to go ahead and prosecute. The president thought otherwise, which I agree with him, that no, it wasn't more, the matter goes beyond just the mere prosecution. We needed to understand, and if you listen, you have followed what happened at the Shaw's commission, it is bringing up a lot of trivial revelations, and we are getting to understand that no, that there is more to what happened than what was reported in the media. So, if this thing happened and then quickly you gather foreign diplomats and you show this thing to them, it doesn't speak well. Now, recently, what happened at our colleague's office in Kumasi, where out of it, we realized somebody had died out of it. One would have thought that the president would have the former president would have taken footage of this and also showed it to the media. We need to be a bit more careful and be a bit more sensitive to the fact that we have a reputation, we have the Ghanaian brand that we all need to protect. Because if you visit outside the jurisdiction, the kind of respect of the Ghanaian, other Africans, and even beyond the frontiers of Africa, other nationals across the world, the kind of respect they accord Ghana, we need to maintain that respect. Let's do our politicking, but the bottom line is that let's be careful some of the things we put out there to the outside world about our country. We also need to celebrate the good side of this country. In the sub-region, Ghana is a shining example, take it or leave it. Notwithstanding all our difficulties to overcome poverty, to be able to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor and all the likes. We are still being respected, and that is something we need to maintain. For some time now, our bid to win international slots on positions at the UN, African Union, has come under challenge because the Francophone countries have come together against some of the Anglophone countries, and Ghana particularly has become a target because they think that, oh, Ghana is getting all the laurels, Ghana is getting all the attention. So the president's call is not directed to anybody, but I just cited the example of the former president. But I think that journalists and other industry players should be a bit more careful about the reputation of our country, even whilst they criticize.
Is it not a situation of the father is there, this is happening, then we tell the father, this is what is happening, do something, and then the father fails to do something, and so perhaps they are compelled to also decide on what to do.
No, right. But to be fair, I don't think that this government has shown any antics of a dead goat syndrome. More often than not, the president has listened. Look, how humble could the president have been to say that I have spoken to my party leadership to speak to the NDC leadership for a meeting. And then he went ahead and says that if this thing doesn't succeed, I will be compelled to bring a legislation. I don't know what else the president could have done.
Some have argued with that. We have all the laws to deal with this, and that we don't need any other legislation. So perhaps they are saying that, Mr. President, don't bring in any legislation, but the law is there, let the law work.
But you see, it's a human institution, and let's also be a bit more cautious and considerate in our criticism. The violence that is being perpetuated is visiting our elections, electoral processes. It just didn't happen by the stroke of the pen. Both political parties, fact be told, unless we are pretending, both political parties have benefited from this. Right or wrong. Both political parties, my brother, the NDC have benefited, the NPP have also benefited. But we cannot continue unending. We must come to a point where we say that enough is enough. And the president has shown the way. Which of the laws that are available that are supposed to be used that we have not used? Is it about violence and criminal prosecution? The president feels that but it is lawful that even while the Commission of Inquiry's investigation is ongoing,
it doesn't stop anybody from going on a criminal prosecution. The commission will reveal more than prosecution. So it will not just be like putting people behind the bars, but we need to understand the dynamics of what happened. Now, as I speak, maybe I have to conclude. As I speak, the National Youth Organizer of our party and the national organizer are on the field, beginning to set the process in place to ensure that we disband all these vigilante groups and all have you. So there is a goodwill that has been shown. I think that a corresponding goodwill from our brothers, in the minority, will help us resolve this matter. And we can make progress.
I'm grateful. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about the president's response to the letter written by the chairman of the NDC. But Kwame, so the president says, criticize what we do, but he is suggesting that don't do it to run down the nation. And I'm asking, is it not a matter of sometimes government inability to take criticism in good faith that sometimes seem to bring out that kind of people trying to do all they can to get attention?
Right. I think this, I don't expect the president to say anything different. The president is under scrutiny for his own conduct. And let me take this opportunity to dispel the notion that anybody is running down Ghana. This president, when he was an opposition leader, toured the world and met leaders of the world and complained bitterly about what was happening in Ghana. In fact, in 2015, for instance, on 20th May or something, if I can remember, he was in Germany meeting the German chancellor when he was not even the president, complaining about so many things in Ghana. You understand? And who would blame him for that? He's a leader of a political party. He would try to do whatever will get the world's attention as to why he should be the president, or why he, if he were to be in charge of Ghana, how things would have been better. So first of all, it is not true. The President Mahama hasn't gone to any country to run down Ghana. Rather, there's record of how many presidents or leaders of the world President Akufo-Addo met when he was a candidate and ran down Ghana, and the records are there. The president talking about criticize me and not criticize me but not run down Ghana, I don't get it. You are the same person who not too long ago said you don't respond to aspirants, yet you are using the so-called comments aspirants made as a basis of running down Ghana. Since when did the president acknowledge the fact that you don't even have to be a presidential candidate contesting an election before you can point out the ills in our society? I don't expect people in Adaklu to be aspiring to be members of parliament or anything before they criticize me if they so wish, or if they feel I've done something wrong. Because we have equal rights in this country, and if things go wrong, it goes wrong for all of us. The third thing is that you should understand that the president did not volunteer information on the ills in our society. If I want to zoom into just the vigilantism and the militia, building of private militia in this country, the president did not volunteer information based upon which he would have said that, oh, okay, you know what, even I gave you this information, why are you abusing the information? The public needed to dig the information. I agree with my brother when he says that stories about, problems at by-elections are not new in our country. But I don't remember at any time in our history where a by-election was conducted and the government took a deliberate decision to create an illegal force, military force, sidestep the police, took them there, armed them, and unleashed them on the people to the extent of beating up a member of parliament in the glare of the world. Until today, that gentleman who is a known operative of NPP is still free. In fact, the police have to walk to his office to take a statement from him, not arrest him. That gentleman should have been in a cage by now But because he belongs to the president's talk, he's free. And you tell me that bringing out that injustice is running down this country, then we're going to run this country down based on things like that for the people, the world to know that this is not Ghanaian. We don't tolerate things like that. When you take a situation where, for instance, that happened, and the gentleman who assaulted our colleague goes out to say that the guns you saw me holding, I grabbed it from a police passerby. It wasn't given to me by the state. How many times have you seen in this country before that you and I can walk on the street and see a policeman holding a gun and say, give me the gun, let me go and do an operation and come back and bring it to you? These are the inconsistencies in the thing. And you see, the president wants to project an image which he's not, which is like, I'm law-abiding, I take criticism. All that you have heard about me building a private militia is not true. It's just some miscreant in my party. No, these are people that the president knows on daily basis. You understand? Would have been easier for me if Nanka Bruce, who was assaulted on the day the president was being sworn in, if we could seek justice for that, that would have given me an impression that the president is up for something. Thirdly, when you talk about what was happening at the, how do you call it, the castle, where one side of castle is investigating vigilantism, and another side is being used to train thousands of them. And you tell me that the president, the commander-in-chief of the Ghana forces, says that he is not aware. And his operatives are speaking from all sides of their mouth. One person says it doesn't exist. One person says that it exists, that we disbanded them long ago. One person says that, oh, they're actually not militants. They are just a private organization. And then another person says that actually the castle is not a security zone. Even if you go there today, nobody walks into castle because it still holds sensitive government organizations, including some ministers or government appointees operate from there. So the president, sadly, he's not the one who is going to tell us to criticize him or not. The guarantee of us criticizing our leaders is enshrined in the Constitution. We don't look up to the president to give us that guarantee. So the president, as a lawyer himself, knows that it is not a president that gives me, or my brother, the right to question things that are happening in this country. But lastly, for me, I ask myself, if, for instance, one of the gentlemen who have been training people at the castle, a security zone, using a government facility to train a private militia, the commander-in-chief can agree that one of the trainers I'm told he doesn't work directly with him anymore, was his personal bodyguard, and that person is also free. Are you sure that NDC or NPP or Bright could have taken people to the castle to be trained as even ordinary security men and will be allowed? If that information comes out, do you know what they will do? You would have been locked up by now. But because it is a state institution, and this is where Ghanaians must wake up. We are told the numbers, security experts are telling us that the numbers are in thousands. And they are training these people for every constituency. And we've seen letters of people being recruited to be trained to protect ballot boxes and other things. So if you watch this and say it's about NDC, NPP, they are there again talking about their thing. Will you be at the polling station in 2020 when the problem will start, when these people are brought in instead of the proper police to protect the ballot? Would you guarantee that when it becomes an issue, you will not be caught up in that problem? If you feel the answer would be that you don't know whether you'll be there, then take steps to encourage this government that there's no evidence that CPP, PPP, NDC is training any group anywhere in this country for the purpose of protecting the ballot. It is only NPP. And this is the first time that we have seen a government in power disrespect and have no loyalty to the state security agencies to the extent that they are building a parallel militia because they don't trust the police. The commander-in-chief doesn't trust the army. This is why I'm saying that this is a serious matter, and the president, what does the president need NDC to do in terms of vigilantism?
Well, he says the two parties have been beneficiaries of this vigilantism.
No.
So they need to.
Which of the people who were beating up people at Awaso Wagon is a member of NDC? Which of the people who are being trained at the castle background are NDC? This is not a general problem in the country. This is a deliberate attempt by the president. And you see the sad thing, we have only seen the one at the castle. The ones that are being trained on people's farm, people's backyard, we don't know. So to tell me that as long as NDC and NPP decide to sit somewhere else, in fact, at the time that they are sitting, they are training them. Just as they say, the case that when the Emil Short committee was sitting in one side of the castle doing this thing, the President Akufo-Addo's men were training even thousands of vigilantes at this thing. I, as a person, do not trust the president 1 inch on this matter.
We'll come to talk about it because the National Security Minister is suggesting that they are just not. So,
I think that my colleague Kwame is unnecessarily playing up emotions. First of all, fact be told, okay, as I earlier on said, visitation of violence in by-elections has always been ongoing. It's been happening.
Yeah, he concedes to
It's been happening. Let's concede to that fact. Now, which president will say that let's a commission of inquiry and then it's being telecasted live for everybody, every Ghanaian to see, and yet you say that the president has something to hide? First of all, I disregard what he says. So to say that, across the country, every constituency, private security groups are being trained to protect the MPP. That is not true. If you listen to the narration that came on, even before the committee set out to work, we were told that there were people, even the tapes that have come out, if you listen, clearly there was a conscious effort by our brothers to bring some private militiamen to be camped in the house of the candidate who contested Iowa. So that is a fact. It came out from their own video. So I am not comfortable when people say that the president is hiding something. There is no militia in Ghana. There is no militia group in Ghana. If you look at the true definition of militia groups, there is nothing like that in Ghana. In as much as I would disregard and not accept the castle being used for such trainings, I don't think we have enough evidence to say that people are training private militia people to go and visit mayhem and violence on people. So we have to be a bit more cautious. I am saying that this is a credit to the president. That one, you can't take it. A credit in the sense that the president has shown a certain decision, a certain determination to fight this violence. He has shown it. Why? President Mahama, during his term, didn't he have by-elections? Chiraponi and the likes. I've witnessed by-elections at Etiwa. Broad daylight, gunshot, I was attacked. No, the police would not even investigate. Today we have a commission of inquiry where it is being chaired by high court judges investigating this matter. And you say that the president has not done well. You are not being fair to the president. Look, what we need to do.
You don't think that our inability to
the inconsistency
is a cause of
right. The inconsistency is rather coming from our brothers in the minority. When he alludes to inconsistency, at one point you have rubbished the commission of inquiry and said that no, the president needs to go out there, that he knows the people who have caused the mayhem, they used to ensure that the people are being arrested. And therefore, the commission of inquiry, nothing is going to come out of it. So you're not even going to participate in the commission of inquiry. When they started working, and you realize the genuity with which the people were working, now you are cooperating. Let's, for once, support this action by the president. And the call by the president to all the parties. The NDC are saying that they need a third party to be involved in these negotiations. We are already, as I already alluded to, already on the field, ensuring that these groups are disbanded. Let them show same commitment. Is he going to tell us that the Azoka boys, they are not NDC? You see, when you play innocent and then you speak as if, as for you are clean, it is the MPP who have a problem, then we will never make progress with this. And let me put on record, this is the president who has shown commitment to the security agencies. The last time, over a lot of equipment that was being given to the army and the police. Look, go to my constituency, the police are being given vehicles to work. And you tell him the president is not committed. He's rather committed to private security men. Then I think that you are rather showing inconsistency.
Let's tie that. I wanted to tie that into
I am confident.
The National Security Minister's issue that the group at the castle is not a militia. That they're just a group that gathers there looking for jobs.
You see, fact be told, I mean, that cannot be a defense. I mean, I'm not going to sit on TV and then what is wrong, you say that is right. No. But I am also not going to accept when people make unnecessary innuendos and then assert things that cannot be proven. When he said he cannot trust the president, the president is rather showing loyalty to private security. I think that was a worst statement that would have come from my respected colleague. Look, whatever it is, we were young men looking for jobs, for them to have gone and trained or had a full day or some exercise at the castle, it was out of place. It is something that we don't have to support. It is out of place. We don't have to support. Whoever is at the leadership should be brought to book. That is my comment to that. But nobody can say that we have militia group in Ghana now.
Let me.
That is too much. I mean, it's a very sensational comment to make.
Let me read what Mr. Brian Champion said. Now, he's saying that we're also aware that Nana Kwalia's Choman started his company from his former secretariat at the castle, where we warned him on 2 occasions and arrested him, threw him out of the office, and shut it down in October. On our 3rd encounter with him, it has not come to our notice that he had access to the office since. This is someone who is done or engaged in an illegality, and the person is still there. Does it not then give one the chance to question why someone engaged in an illegality is still doing the same thing?
You see, Bright, and I don't like doing this. I try to be fair to the fact.
Right.
But we live in this country where a while ago we had party apparatchiks going after public institutions, toilets, public institutions were at the beck and call of party apparatchiks during the reign of our brothers. Did you ever hear anybody being sent to court? Did you ever hear anybody being prosecuted? This is the time we've had worse cases. People going to take control court premises. Most of them have been sent to court. They've been tried. There have been charges preferred. People have been punished for wrongdoing. You see, there are some good things happening in our country. We need to support them.
But in this case, the man we're talking about is still there.
That is. I'm surprised, especially coming from Brian himself, that he was once arrested and warned, and he's still doing what he's doing. I think the security couples will also have to up their game. You know, they have to up their game. For me, nobody can come and defend what happened at the castle. It is wrong. It is totally wrong. It's something that we shouldn't support. But I think it's this exuberant party youth who were just out there, but it's a security zone. That area shouldn't have been used for that. But for anybody to say that it is getting a tear support from the president knows about it. The president is supporting them. The president is showing disloyalty to security agencies. It's the worst statement I've heard this morning. It's the worst.
Kwame, he says that you linking what is happening to the presidency isn't right.
Well, let's go back a step. We started this with the president saying don't run down the country. And I've given you why I said I don't trust the president on this. And I gave you the fact that the president have been met leaders of the state, other countries, and made comments. Let me bring it back home. What did the president say about the relocation of the Gitmo into this country? You saw the comment that these things would lead to terrorism in Ghana and all those things.
Did you say that?
Well, I mean, you are bringing terrorists. His party took a position which is known on this matter. Today, where are those people? Have they thrown them out of this country? Then I'm saying that those were the things that drew the attention of the world. It's as if Ghana was harboring terrorists that could harm us. But let's move on. My brother, what's happening at the castle? I want to avoid saying what happened because as far as I'm aware, nothing has changed in the president's attempt to build a parallel force. And I'm saying this because whilst he was talking about setting a committee to investigate the Ayawaso terrorism, which was sitting at one side of the castle, the commander-in-chief's men and women were training people at the other side of the castle
for his own purpose. If you watch the video that Manasseh put out, you could see one of the commanders saying that the last time we deployed you, being the militants, to a state function that the president attended, according to the video, he asked, are those my men that are being trained at the castle? And when he was told yes, he was happy. This is on the video and that's put out.
This wasn't on the video. But is that why you want...
You also have that?
Yes.
Right, you have that?
Yes, I had on the video.
Yes.
Is that why you want to link it to the president?
And I'm saying that the person who was making this comment was the president's own man. That the president was happy to see how professional you guys were. So if I sit on this and say that the president doesn't trust the state security, I am saying it on the basis that, based on those things, the president probably believed that these miscreants that, according to him, performed better, were better than the police. So giving a saloon car to the police, look, did you listen to Dr. Agozo when he says, and he wasn't speaking about NDC or NPP, he says that the security architecture of this country is such that they are abused in a sense that they are unable to do what they ought to do as security agencies. So you ask the question, the guy who actually assaulted Sam George, in another jurisdiction, that gentleman wouldn't have been going to work today. Should have been in a cage. Two, when you have a situation where the president's personal bodyguard, and I don't know whether...
He's no more the bodyguard.
Look, my brother, I don't follow the president. I don't know who is his bodyguard. Well, maybe he's been reassigned or he's been sacked or whatever. I don't know. Has been using a state facility, a security zone for that matter, for a purpose. And even the security agencies, the police, the military, national security could not have the ability to drive him out. It just summarizes the state in which we are as in terms of security. It means that the commander-in-chief has lost the ability even to discipline his own people. And the question I put to you is this: are you confident that for what is happening from now and in 1.5 years, 2 years time when we go to the polls, are you confident that this president have the will to protect everybody, or is he basically focused on winning a second term and can do anything, or die be die? And in fact, they use example of Nigeria. They said that Buhari did all the wrong things, he won, and the opposition can go to court. And today, I've noticed something. The slightest thing you do, then people will tell you go to court. Maybe they think that the courts are for them. I understand.
Well, that's an allegation.
Oh, yeah, because of course the money to kick out how do you call it, Madam Osei on frivolous account, and installed an electoral commissioner I call a full soldier of NPP. Yeah. She's nothing but a full soldier of NPP, Madam Jean Mensah.
Kwame, I'm grateful. Let me get Honorable Don Petro. Just a few seconds.
Yes, my conclusion is simple. If somebody says that we succeeded in getting out,
and there's a court that
so let him correct himself. And as a member of parliament, we shouldn't be saying this.
People can be sacked
on the Gitmo too. Let me put on record. We disagreed on principle that it should have gone through parliament, and the court agreed with us. It should have gone through parliament, and President Mahama disrespected parliament. So that was our point, that he should have respected parliament.
So let's get that one clear. Or they are gone?
Well, you know, they have gone through a process. They are in this country. The agreement was brought to parliament. Parliament, of which he is part, ratified that agreement. So what is he talking about?
So the question is, are they here or they are gone?
Oh, they are here.
They are here.
Look, the agreement in parliament, we said that take the matter to parliament. You refuse. The court said that take it back to parliament, and a law-abiding government had ensured that parliament had ratified it. I'm going to call on our security couples that they have to be careful and watch some of these excesses. I know the president means well. He has a very good conscience in terms of development of our country, and the president doesn't need so-called militiamen to win. He's already prosecuted very good policies that the good people of this country can feel and see. It will not take Kwame Abuja to sit on TV and play to emotions for people to vote against the president.
The people of this country trust the president, and they know how genuine he is when it comes to security protection.
He's a member of parliament for Nswim Adwejiri, Honorable Frank Anodin. He's also the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament. Honorable Kwame Obuja is the MP for Adako.
And he's a ranking.
and a ranking member on the committee. I'm grateful for your time this morning. Stay with us. There's more coming up.
This vary from the simple common malaria to vaccination of children at the birth, and then you move up to very serious illnesses. So depending on various categories. Also, we knew that with increasing the teaching hospitals, trying to increase their numbers across the country, and that's why, for example, in the Volta region, we're upgrading the whole regional hospital into a teaching hospital, because we needed to get doctors to stay in the regions, and they wouldn't if they couldn't specialize. So, and you cannot specialize if you don't have a teaching hospital with the professors being there to actually train these doctors who are up and coming. So the more teaching hospitals you create, and we wanted one per region, was our aim, then it would mean that doctors would be happy to stay in the regions because they would be able to still specialize in a field or that they required. So that was the focus of our infrastructure, increased infrastructure across board was the focus, retooling the existing, because we had hospitals, Kolibwens, we spent a lot of money retooling it because we were, even though the buildings existed, the equipment wasn't up to date, etc. So that was the main focus of our attention in terms of healthcare.
So the spread was from the chips to the
right up to the
tertiary,
teaching hospitals.
I see.
We have built a lot of district hospitals, a lot of polyclinics across the country, as you know, in Central Region, in Brahafo Region, in Western Region, and we were doing a program of 5 or 10 per region in terms of the district hospitals. The aim is to have a district hospital and then also have a regional hospital, and then also eventually have a teaching hospital, and then have a system where you graduate. We also had to make sure that we had personnel for these hospitals. So you would see that we had a lot of training schools up and down the country which opened in order that we could have nurses, clinicians, and etc. So there was a lot of work done in the health sector during the Mills administration.
When you left office, yes, from where you sit and certainly you'll be observing, what have you seen?
Well, I think that one of the main problems with the whole system of changes of government is the inability to sometimes continue things that already exist and finish them off. Because then politically, it's seen as a credit to your opponent and not to yourself. And so the advancement or the progress of the country is totally slowed or slowed down because of this position that we have in our body politic, if I can put it that way. So people then try to have a different priority or do something different, which does not necessarily help. So
and it's affecting the sector.
It affects the whole country. Look, if you look from possibly the time of Achampong to the current government, there was between $300 to $400 million worth of uncompleted medical facilities in this country. Because when the government comes, it stops. When the government comes, it stops. So one of the priorities we will have to look at is that we have to look at all these facilities, and we started in our time, and make a decision, which ones do we have to start from scratch because they've been, the plan and everything is wrong, which ones can we finish, and put monies into this, regardless of which government started it, because they are in areas which we can use it. And the biggest one of them all is the maternity block in Kumasi at the Komfonoche, which has been there since the period of Achampong, a huge facility that you need about maybe $80–90 million, if not 100, some say 50, but depending, to actually finish that edifice that stands. So there is a need for us to, as a people, begin to understand that we really have to stop this. I won't finish your work. I'm looking at something.
How do we change it? The politician will have to think again?
Yes, and you would have hoped that the plan that the GNPC, not GNPC, the group that deals with planning, our National Development Planning Commission, would be able to look at one plan, and even though it's for a 5-7 year period, the next plan that will come should look and see how far we've gotten with things and make them priorities. But because we have manifestos, then we have to look at things and see where they go. And most of our manifestos are not that different. The way we implement things may differ, but the actual policy should be the same. And that is where we tend to fall down.
But some would also argue that when a politician is in a position, then he sees what is wrong. And then you could be talking this way today, that next when you're in power, you could also say, okay, the government that I took over, the project that the government was doing, I'm not going to continue.
Yes, but it depends on what type of a project. So I don't say that is going to happen. But if you had a situation where, let me explain.
What type of project?
If you are building a cathedral and we come into office and we decide that we won't finish the church, we'll rather finish the hospital, it makes sense. Because it's not that there's a lack of churches. There is a lack of hospitals. And the two differ. It's not like we don't have, we have maybe too many churches. So we are building a cathedral. Fine. I'm not saying that it's a national one, there might be a reason for it. But if somebody decides that I'm not doing that, I'm going to finish a hospital, especially if it's involving government funds, I'm going to use that and continue using private funds to try and do this. Fine. But that kind of a change in priority makes sense. However, it does not necessarily make sense that you will not finish a hospital or a chip compound, or you delay the process so that in effect it doesn't appear to have been something that has been created by your predecessor. So you stall a project for 2-3 years, and then when you finish you say, well, I did it, when in actual fact you've stalled it for 2-3 years. And most of these things have a financial implication because we take out loans and we pay interest on those loans. There are moratorium periods, and when they pass you still have to start paying on it. So you're cutting your nose to spite your face.
I see, and so certainly you're not happy with some of the district hospitals. I mean, we've seen the one at Dodowa Commission, Kumewu has been abandoned, several others. You're certainly not happy about it.
Well, Dodowa, we didn't say it, it was but the African Union WHO wing commended Dodowa Hospital as actually a template that should be used across the whole of Africa. Because of the nature of the hospital and the way it was situated and the administration. And I would give kudos to the doctor who was in charge of it and who has been running it for a while. He's done extremely well in terms of the administration and the way it works. And the other hospitals that were supposed to have been finished, and I think there were a total of 7, were all going to be under the same type issue. And we are still waiting.
Government is talking about using drones to enhance health delivery. Your view on that?
I think it's a misplaced priority. It's not that you can't do it, or it's just, and the reason they gave, which has to do with blood movement, for me is
essential medicines, according to what?
Well, the bottom line is, do you have the medicines in Kolibu? Let me ask a simple question. Kolibu pharmacy is there. Because we are not paying NHI well, they can't get the drugs they need to actually give out in some of these hospitals. So in fact, when you go to Kolibu, you are then directed, or go to a hospital, you're directed to go to a private pharmacy to buy your drugs. Now, the priority should be, how can we get our government pharmacies equipped so that they can dispense NHI drugs, which people are entitled to, without having to go and pay for it. That is, for me, more of a priority than a drone. Because if the one that is even next to you cannot deal with, how do you now then get a drone? If you went to a hospital now, and this is not peculiar to this government, it's been there, and you were involved in an accident or something and you needed blood, you will be asked to bring a relative to replace the blood you were. So till the relative came or a friend came to give blood, you would not be able to get the blood. They tell you that, oh, if it's an emergency, they'll give it to you. The truth is that the reality is that the person must appear and give blood. If not, they will not give you the blood. So if you're putting blood on a drone, question, who at the other end has given blood before they give that blood, put the blood on the drone? Because that is the unwritten policy.
It's an unwritten policy.
Yeah. So how does a drone solve that problem? You're sending blood to an emergency spot, and in actual fact, they haven't got somebody to give blood already to replace it. The drone will never take off. I mean, and this is the reality.
How do we get to these hard to reach areas?
Well, the point is that you have to put blood banks in the right places, and that should be more of the priority. But the emphasis now should be spending some of this money on a drive to get people to donate blood voluntarily, because we don't have enough blood in the first place. That's why you're asked to give blood, replace the blood before you can take it. So we have to get a policy, which we were looking at, of trying to say, look, ministry by ministry, month by month, over a 12-month period, you would say, look, we're going to the Ministry of Health in January. All people who are eligible to give blood, give blood. Next ministry would be transport. Next would be the castle. So that you begin to build a mindset amongst people. But start with yourselves, that is government institutions. And say, look, voluntarily give blood. And then, so that when you get to the point where there's enough blood, and there's a lifespan for blood, and there's enough blood in the system, and you've staggered it so that as you go from one to the other, district assemblies, municipalities, government institutions, make it an inherent policy that giving blood is now part and parcel. It will even point out illnesses for people that don't even know they have the illnesses. Because when they take the blood, they screen it. So for me, drones, misplaced priority. We have other priorities.
It will not in any way enhance our health delivery?
Look, as a country, we spent a lot of money, or we get a lot of money from donors for vaccinations, HIV, etc. But this money is being reduced year in, year out now, because we were now deemed to be a lower middle income economy. So those amounts, so each year, the amount we as a country have now to begin to pay for these things is going to increase. So before you take on more social interventions that cost money, deal with the ones that you already have and are on their way. Make sure you have enough funding to cover vaccines in the next 3 to 4 years, which, because no longer will you be able to just pick them or get them from donors. You have to pay for it. So we have existing debts which are coming. Some have already started, I believe. And therefore, it's imperative that these are factored into how we look at other issues we deal with. And drones, for me, therefore, it's not that it cannot work, it's a misplaced priority.
Great. Now, let's shift attention a bit away from health. Now, first of all, what is happening now? A journalist getting to put out an expose about a group being trained at a security facility, though we're told that it is no more a security facility. The government says that it is not a militia, but a group being trained. They're looking for jobs.
I heard a very learned...
but even before that, hold your thought. Let's listen to the president on fighting vigilantism.
The people of Ghana do not deserve to be toyed with in such a reckless manner. The very concept of political violence is offensive and shames us all who are in politics. That is why that I'm determined that hopefully the impending dialogue between the two major political parties, the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, who between them regularly take more than 95% of the vote in elections, who have provided all the 7 governments of the Fourth Republic, and who are the only 2 parties currently represented in Parliament, should succeed.
That's the president on vigilantism. Well, let's start from the Castle expose. Government says they are a group seeking for jobs.
I think that the first thing we have to do is not to couch it in that incident alone. There are a number of incidents that have happened recently, and I think they are all connected. in one shape, form, or fashion. So when you try to isolate that incident on its own, you do not understand then the gravity of what is happening in our country. I start first with the Swale incident. He's a journalist, undercover. He's assassinated. That's what happened. We had an assassination of a journalist who was part of an expose that did a lot of damage to the ruling MPP party. That's the starting point. If you want to divorce it from the other incidents, you miss the security implications of where we are in this country. So Swale's incident has a direct, there have been other armed robberies, assassination. This one was of a journalist, and I'm a criminal lawyer. When you begin to look at motive, who has a motive? Why did the police ask certain people to come for questioning? Because they look at who would have a motive for dealing, has nothing to do with the NDC. Absolutely nothing to do with the NDC in terms of motive. Others were questioned. Put that aside. You come to the second incident, Ayawasu West Wagon. Here again, you have people who are armed, who, on the face of what we are hearing from the commission or whatever, we do not even know whether they are legally formed under national security. Does national security even have the power to arm people to the teeth? How did they recruit them? Some of these people may have records. What was the criteria used to give them arms after 3 weeks training? Where they said they went there because they had intel. If their intel is as good as the men they sent out there, it's not worth the paper or the salt is written on. Because here's intel that the IGP did not know about. He did not know about the operation. And the people who were in that, who should have known.
He says it's normal.
Fine.
Not to keep the IGP in.
He doesn't know about it. The commander who is supposed to be in the area is not in part of the position. People from national security, they said there's a process. In our country, when you get that type of intel, at even national security level, or even an election process, the first port of call is the police. Why weren't the police asked to carry out this operation? And if the police are unable to, or it escalates, you always have the military on standby to back them. What national security should be given information. They are not supposed to have an armed group of people to go in there. And all these people in there who we appear, we had the gentleman, he used to be a polling station agent called Double for MPP. Once again, MPP is involved in this. The house that was attacked was the NDC person's house. So you have a situation which has created a furor and uproar in this whole country. And it has got nothing to do with NDC. Point number 2. Motive for this. We are coming home to MPP. Then you come now with your question. People being trained at the castle. And I listened to, I forget his name, listened to one of these security experts, and he made a very important point. He said, we have reached a point in our country that people should stop playing semantics, using language. There are 2 courts in this country. Court of law, go and play your semantics there. Court of public opinion, as far as most people on the street are concerned, this is a militia. As far as the people on the street are concerned, you can twist it any way. My own brother, Kojo Bonkruba, welcome to the club of politics. He used to, when he was a radio presenter, he could do, now he's in the fray, real hot, he's seeing it for real. And he has to be careful, because his own people are now telling him that what you are putting out is wrong. So he's at straight loggerheads with his former bosses, and he's a journalist himself. So we have to be careful. What do they want to show that something is a militia? We've had an incident at Ayawasu where people have been shot. People are in hospital. So now when you put that thread running right through, this government has serious questions to answer. And the way they are going about it is wrong. Because I'll put Swales on the side because that is an assassination and it's different in that regard, but not with regard to motive. With regard to the Ayawasu West Ogon in regard to the militia. You tell me who has resigned.
Someone should resign?
How? For crying out loud.
The commission, the president
Somebody
should find out what is the cause of it.
Look.
The commission's work.
I have some concerns.
Quickly.
About the commission. You know, if we are not careful, it can give an outlet for future prosecutions to be stifled. A crime has been committed. Whatever the commission is doing or not, why haven't we arrested somebody, regardless of what the commission is doing? Arrest people, put charges, bail them, don't give bail. They were quick to call Ofosu Ampofo. In 2 seconds, he was to be invited. Why hasn't anybody been picked up? Why? Because the work could not. Who gave the order? There are 3 tiers in that matter. Those that gave the order, in fact, who formed it first? That's the first point. Is it legal? Can it be done? 2, you've formed it, they've come out. Who gave the order for them to be deployed? Was the procedure? That is there. Then who, when they were shooting, who gave? Yeah, look, when you fire a weapon on a range, I was a cadet for 7 years.
Right.
If you are given 5 rounds of ammunition and you fire, if you count 4 shells, they can't find the 5th one, you won't leave the range that day. You must bring back all the empty shells to show that they were fired. And if you didn't fire one, then this is the live round. When you have a weapon, it comes with certain responsibilities. For 7 years I was a cadet. The amount of training I went through in that 7 years on weapons, I have a healthy respect and I know what one has to do with weapons. So please, how does a person who is on the ground, a crime scene where people have fired, the police are not even able to come and gather the shells. Individuals have now gathered the empty shells and put. Everything is wrong about this operation.
The commission's work, everything about it is wrong?
No, not the commission. The commission's work, the reason why I can accept it at this stage, even though I don't in principle have a problem with it, is that had the commission not stepped in, a lot of cover-up would have taken place. Because now it has exposed a lot of the wrongs, which now have to be righted. So in that regard, it has a positive. But in regard to future prosecutions, we do not want it to become
one of those.
Yeah, because you know nobody at the commission was cautioned. You know the caution statement. Nobody is cautioned. You come, you speak. If you're not cautioned, nothing you say can be used in evidence against you tomorrow.
Okay, we're wrapping up. Mr. Fusampofo's comments palatable.
Yes. Well, as far as the party is concerned, this is a doctor tape. So if that is the position of the party, then somebody should come and say, look, no, it wasn't doctored. I was there, I recorded it, or I've done this, or it was at this point. Because we know what, you're into journalism, you know what these things can, what people can do with electronics. So at the moment, the position is that it's a doctor tape. So there's no need for anybody to answer any questions.
I'm grateful. He's a former Minister of Health under the NDC government. Grateful for your time with us this morning. And thanks so much for coming.
Thank you too.
Mr. Alex Segbefia is the name. Stay with us. There is sports right after here. Right, and welcome back. Let's talk about young Kim, who was on the street, but luck smiled on him. He won an essay contest and went to represent Ghana on the international scene. Now, the story of Hakim has brought to the fore the need to urgently address the increasing number of children on the streets of Accra. Alfred Okansi has this.
They are seen as a nuisance all over the streets, chasing after vehicles for money to survive. Some of these children are here by choice.
I've been to school. I was in Form 1 when I forget about school.
Why did you forget about school?
Me and my teacher get one grudge. That's why I forget the school.
Many others are on the streets as a result of circumstances through no fault of theirs. One of such children is Hakim. Hakim is a 13-year-old boy. I first met him on August 13, 2018 at about 10:15 p.m. at at a traffic intersection at the 37 Military Hospital in Accra. Hakim identified me as a newscaster. I took this picture with him that day. On the 18th of October 2018, I met Hakim's friends at the same spot I first met him and asked to see him. This is what I was told.
Hakim, why? Go China. Why they didn't call China? Bruh.
I drove off in doubt whether to believe what I had been told or not. As the weeks went by and there was no sight of Hakim, the worry and anxiety grew. The inquiries and search for Hakim continued until January 25, when I met his friend, who informed me that Hakim had returned from his trip to China. I requested a meeting with him to find out how he ended up in China. After waiting for some 5 minutes, Hakim came around. We want to find out exactly where he has been and if indeed he traveled to China. Hakim, I'm happy to see you. So I asked of you from your friends and they said you had traveled to China. Is it really true?
Yes, it's very true.
Traveled to China?
Yes.
How did you get there? Or who took you to China?
The whole thing started when a man there who took us to school, just at Airport Police Basic School, CMD. In the school, when the headmistress said the Stomach Bank at Accra, Stomach Heights, they brought a letter to her that there's going to be an essay competition, so that it's just taking one student out of one school in the whole Ghana. So they chose our school because it's near to the school. So we wrote the essay that I got to win.
All right, and after Alfredo Kanse has seen Hakim and followed Hakim in his exploit, Hakim now gets some support. Now, he, after that contest in China, will no longer be on the streets. Watch this.
Why? Go China. Why they didn't call China?
There's going to be an essay competition, so that it's just taking one student out of one school in the whole Ghana. So they chose our school because it's near to the school. So we wrote the essay that I got to win.
But the problem is that they have nowhere to sleep. So from school, they go back to the streets.
Hakim's story generated global response after it was aired, with both Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians offering help. Hakim's turnaround story began with a surprise visit by the Back to School from the Street campaigner Rahim Banda.
Hakim, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. And over these 60,000 children in the streets, our aim is not to add to it, to inspire the rest to at least, if not get into a classroom, get into a vocation or something.
Village of Hope at Gomoa Fete in the Central Region made a request for Hakim to sit for an assessment exam. Hakim's best friends on the streets, Ephraim and Peter, joined him in the morning to help him prepare for his trip. We set off from the premises of TV3. The 1 hour 45 minutes journey was that of mixed emotions for Hakim. We were welcomed by Araba Ejay, the head teacher of Hope Christian Academy in the Village of Hope. Hakim was ushered in to write the English and mathematics exams. After an hour and 15 minutes, Hakim was done answering the 60 questions. We waited for his results. He scored 93%. We left the Village of Hope with the hope that the end of Hakim's struggle on the streets is near. Then came the call from Stanbic Bank to meet Hakim. He was welcomed by the Chief Executive Officer of the bank, Alhassan Andani. It turned out that Alhassan Andani had what will be the best news Hakim has ever heard all his life.
Our plan is to give Hakim, full scholarship so that he can achieve his entire life ambition. And we have spoken to our development partner, the LCOS village, who have agreed to absorb him. And we already have houses there that we maintain. So we have 2 houses, we have 20 kids like him that we maintain, so he'll be part of that. And SOS school is a very good school as well. I'm not saying where he is not good enough, but we will, make sure that Hakim's ambitions are achieved completely.
4 years of struggle on the streets has ended with a promise of a bright future ahead for Hakim Alhassan Aremiao. Alfredo Kansi, TV3 News, Accra.
And Alfredo Kansi put that together, and Abdul Hakim Alhassan Aremiao. Hakim is in my studio. Hakim, good morning.
Good morning.
You are happy, are you not?
I am.
Why are you happy?
Because my problem is being solved.
What was the problem?
Like being on the street and other things, shelter and other things. That's why.
You were on the street. How did you feel being on the street?
Like there are different things on the street, like sometimes danger, sometimes it goes good, sometimes you go hungry, sometimes you not eat for the whole day, and other bad things.
When is it that is good? What makes it good?
Okay, data, like when you go into the traffic, like you get like a good money just come out, when you can go and buy food, you can take to school, so a school bag can like used to buy food and other things for yourself. Okay. But sometimes when you go inside the traffic and like you get nothing, it's a bad
day. People
day.
Don't mind you. No. That's when it's a bad day. What about when it rains?
It rains, you just have to get a shelter to just sit under. Just sit there till the rain stops.
You have to sit in the rain until it stops. When you met Alfred, or first, how did you know Alfred?
I knew him as a newscaster, because I was working in the traffic when I came near his car. Then I mentioned his name, and he gave me his number. And that day too, yeah, he parked and have a few conversations with me and asked about me. That's how I met him.
But when you took his number, how were you going to call him?
Because that time I didn't have a phone, but there's someone in the place where we sleep like has a phone, so that I'll
you were going to use
yes.
that to call him?
Yes.
When you met him, did you feel that perhaps he could help solve the problems you were going through?
No.
You didn't. You had no hope that you had met someone who could help you.
I didn't even think about it like that. Just thought like I've met like someone, a newscaster who like has interacted with me.
And you were happy?
Yes.
That's all. So you were going to go back to the street and continue what you were doing. Then you went to China, Ketsti Stanbic, and came back. And you still went back to the street?
Yes.
You went to China. We saw you in the photograph. You met children from other places. You saw China. And then you came back to Ghana, you went on the street. How did you feel going back to the street from China?
It feels bad, but that's the place like where I've been. That's where I went to China. Sometimes even my friends will be saying like, you do this, but they say you have gone to China, but you and us, you are still here. What shows you have gone to China?
They didn't believe you because they were thinking that if you came back from China, then you would have gotten off the street. You now have a new life, don't you?
Yes.
You have a new life. What new life do you have? Tell me about it. What kind of life do you have now?
A new life.
Okay, so in the past, if you got up in the morning, you were on the street, so you got up, perhaps you look for a few things to do, brush your teeth, and then sometimes you don't even bath, you go to the street and start begging. Now, what has changed? What do you do when you wake up in the morning? Exactly what life do you have now?
It's different from the one on the street. Now, like when I wake up in the morning, then like brush my teeth, bath in the morning, just wait for breakfast, and it's good. But being on the street, immediately you wake up in the morning, you think about how the day will be. Because you wake up, you have nothing, and you have to go in the traffic and go and work, and like.
Do you know where your parents are?
Yes.
You know. Since you returned from China, and since you got help from Stambik, from the Village of Hope, from other people, have you heard from them?
No.
You don't contact them?
Well, I've been on the street like 4 years now.
You haven't heard from them? But you know they are alive? Where are they? Do you know where they are?
Well, when I left there at Dodoa, it was very long, but I've like...
You've lost memory of where you live, where your parents live? Yeah. You can't remember?
Yes.
You can't recall where they are? But when you see them, would you be able to recognize them?
Yes, I'll be.
You're starting a new life. You've just written a test at that school, and that means you're going to start school. Now, what is it that will push you to learn hard and become the person you want to be?
Like getting like a new place, like how I've got like that. Same thing, like having like a school and other good things. I'll just learn hard.
Your promise is to learn hard.
Yes.
So that you become the person you want to be.
Yes.
Your friends on the street, and they have seen what the kind of life you have now. What is it that you think should be done for people on the street to take them off the street?
I'll say, like, the main problem on the street like now is shelter, and also like feeding. But sometimes when like they are taken somewhere, they can come back, but it's shelter.
Why do they come back? They're on the street and then they are taken from. Why did they come back?
Like some are like the streets, like we are on our own, and there's no one to
control you.
Yes.
So they like that.
Yeah, but some too are. When like someone you take them, they remain there for. They are good.
So for you, we should provide food, we should provide shelter for these children on the street.
Yes,
it will take them off from the street.
Yes, yes.
The people who are, we're getting ready to wrap up our conversation. The people who have supported you, from Stanbic to the Village of Hope to all those who are calling in, who want to see Hakeem live a new life. What is it that you have to tell them?
I have to tell them a very big thank you and God bless you. Like they should keep the support coming, and all the people who like help and all the people who support. Just say thank you and God bless you, and God continue giving them so that
they can help you. Yes. And finally, what is your promise, your commitment that you learn and learn hard and become the person you want to be?
Yes, I promise. Like I'll learn hard and more harder to achieve, because like the whole world is on me, so I'll make sure I don't let them down.
Right. Abdul Hakeem Al-Hassan Arabia. That's his full name. Hakeem is what we prefer to call him. It makes me remember, if you watched Eddie Murphy's Coming to America, the Hakeem guy in that movie. Hakeem, once again, I will say that we wish you all the best, and we'll be following your exploits. Thanks so much for coming. And Alfred Okanse is a guy who did that story, broke the story, followed the story, getting support for all these kids on the streets. We're asking for the state to do more than it is doing now to help get these young ones off the street. Let's wrap up the day with some entertainment. We're bringing you Dada Kedi.
And let's get a tasty bite to end a very sweet meal. I bring you Dada Kedi, an exclusive conversation. 25 years in music. Dada, welcome. Congratulations to you. 25 years, how have you done it? Sorry. No, you're okay, you're fine. 25 years, how have you stayed relevant all these years?
It's happened a lot. It's been a lot. I never thought it could be this way. In fact, having my life and having myself even with you, having this discussion is just more than a privilege, because I never thought I could go through such a traumatic life, trying to live a perfect life so that you can add your culture to see that a community where you come from, people can recognize you and see that you are not a nuisance. You are just a human being trying to make a community happy.
Right.
In the same way, there are a bunch of crop of people who just wanted to make sure that you struggle to, climb the ladder to the top.
Okay.
Which I understand in all walks of life, it exists.
Okay.
But unlike my situation, it's just too much. At a point in time, I just feel like, wow, if my people don't want to accept me as a good person, as a great musician, then what do I have to do? Probably I just have to quit. But I realized...
Did you ever think of that?
I have been trying so much, but in as much you try, a fan could meet you and could just inspire you, could do something to inspire your hope, and you say, okay, what can I do? Because the thing is, you're not doing it for only one or few people.
Right.
That is only keep me going.
Wow, that's what keeps you going.
Exactly.
Interesting. 25 years. Do you remember your first song?
Of course, I do remember, but the key would be too much for me.
No, don't try. Just tell me. Maybe we'll find it.
May his soul rest in peace. Do you know one Willie Roy?
Right, Willie Roy. I met him at Plaza FM when I was on radio there.
He apparently made me because I have no clue about how I should find myself in the studio to sit with him and probably say this is the song that I had wanted to do, because I did the first live recording with one great guy who has also died.
Okay.
We're talking about George Forrest.
George Forrest, an engineer as well, like
so
Willie Roy.
All my friends are graduating, quitting, but thank God I'm still alive.
Yeah. Does it scare you?
It hasn't scared me a lot, because there are three things involved in life.
Okay.
By birth on earth, and you are waiting for your death.
Right.
But I'm not thinking about. But the reality is, after
these were the guys who pushed you into
pushed
music.
me into the music, and one Michael Osajma, if he's just watching me, I mean, we all grew up knowing each other as we have a talent potentiality, but how do we take it to another level? It is where I met one Tommy Redu,
right,
who also, inspired me that I think you've written a good song, but I have no clue how to go about the whole thing. So one day, somebody just had to tap my shoulder and say, okay, let's go to Newday, which means it is the help of this Osajiman.
Right.
Through his efforts and through a lot of contact, we try to get people to help me do it. But as usual, I was so tiny that people don't just respect the talent that I have, but they say, okay, who taught you to sing, or have you ever tried joining in the formal band or something? I said, no, right from secondary school. I have no clue. But
which secondary school was that?
That was my hometown. Not Newday secondary school. So we hit the studio, and J-Man studio, that was that, J-Man.
J-Man.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, okay, can you do, you call it a guard track?
Okay.
So I was not even given the food. I remember. So Willie Roy said, okay, can you give us a guide track? So while I was singing, I was waiting that they could give me some food because I was really hungry.
Okay.
And that is the music. We all listen. for the past 25 years is talking about Honey Love.
Wow.
Because I sang it straight to a point that without trying to do this kind of, how do you call it?
Auto-tune and everything else.
Just straight up, because I have been memorizing the music right from secondary school. So you can imagine, in most of the time I'll be walking and I'll be singing in my head.
Right.
So when I hit the studio, it's just like something that I just need to struggle straight up.
And
Honey
it's just
Love,
there.
Honey Love, Honey Love. It's just there.
Honey Love. Interesting. Is music pain? Has been worth a while?
For me personally, I could say 50-50.
Why 50-50?
It doesn't much. I think I never knew there's just a big platform. We thought music is just gone out of the days. Okay. I'm talking to myself personally. That so I never realized this could be that a big, let's say, show business. Okay. We never knew there is a business attached to the music. All we know is whenever you had an album released, the privilege to even sit back for people to enjoy is a payment to you, to your soul.
I see.
At the point that I have to realize that, okay, I just need to have a family. I need to establish a family.
Right.
I just have to be nice to friends who are, that is where I realized that, okay, what should I do?
I need money out of this.
I need money to do this.
Okay.
And it shouldn't just happen. It starts from a lot of effort, assertion from people who might also see the need to make sure that they project you. It cannot be me all alone, even though I have the talent, potentiality, but we should have people to do that kind of backups to make sure they manage you or something like that. This is what I've been, what should I say?
If you cast your mind back to 25 years when you began, times have changed, things have changed, technologies have changed.
Really?
Are you still relevant in today's Kwame Eugene, Kiddies, Kwabena, all the younger ones that you left the scene for, to also grow and survive?
Apparently, if you are aware, I've not been all that sideline, even though...
No, I'm not talking about being sideline.
I know.
I'm saying that you started 25 years ago. You have had little brothers and sisters come after you, doing what you do. Are you still in the thick of things?
That's what I'm saying. It looks like I'm not often out with a boom song.
Right.
But there are some songs that people don't really know that I am behind those stuff.
How come?
How come? It's just a problem. So at a point in time, I saw myself like, I just need to step out the game by trying to, let's say, go outside for a green pasture.
Okay.
That is where the whole problem started. Because most of the time, I might have a chance to visit Ghana, but just a few months, you just have to go back.
Did you have it easy in Europe?
Not at all.
Not at all. What did you go through?
I wouldn't be able to tell exactly what I went through, but I realized that before I could turn back, I said, wow, time has already elapsed. Because there's a lot of stuff that I could have come or have a sense of doing it because it has always been me alone.
Right.
That is the situation. Right. People think that I'm so perfect to be able to handle everything all by myself. And that is why I get stuck up. I get stuck up in the middle of nowhere.
People think you are too genuine and they can't believe.
Go to studio, nobody is around just to be able to steer things up for you. Right. I think I am so okay, which I agree. But
do you have a management?
That's what I'm trying to talk about. People fail to see the need to, team up with me and help me climb to the level.
Why not? Why
because
don't they
normally say, if you don't want to come and stay in Ghana, you don't see the need to be able to help somebody staying outside the country.
Okay. There's a brand new one that you have, right? What's it called?
Mario.
Mario, why that title?
What? Apparently it's not
Mario.
Metaphorically. I'm just trying to make the title looks more attractive.
Okay.
But in the context of the music, I'm trying to explain something that is got to do with how it feels to appreciate somebody, a partner, at the point where you just wanted to depart a person because you just wanted to step outside and make things right. It would be like, oh, I can't afford to take you along with me.
Okay.
So there could be some sense of romance.
Right.
Say, okay, let us enjoy the last day before you leave. This is just
Mario,
out of imaginary in a romance.
Metaphorically. For the first time on your TV, that's Mario by Dada Katie. Enjoy.
For double bottom, mama come and tell me, they freeze me now. Why am I with you? I am intended. For double bottom, mama come and tell me, they freeze me now. Why am I with you? I am intended. Me I know to me. I may not go baby. Me I know to me. I may not go baby. I don't me feel.
Oh boy, lovely one there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love it. Sweet. He had Kelson's on there.
Yeah.
How did you meet him? How did you pick him up? Say, come, my little brother, let's do something.
Exactly. I mean, everything just happened out of, I could say, miracle because, like you mentioned, a few guys who are trying to climb to the ladder. What I normally say is, you are not competing with any musician in the first place. You are competing with your own talent, potentiality.
Right.
So when people just hail you, just remember that it is your own music. It is not people are trying to compare with people with somebody like that. So we met in the studio through Kewa.
Okay.
And Kewa said, there is a young guy, I think, if you can really be in the studio with him. So together we met at Kewa studio.
And one thing led to the other. Is that Arcadia womanizer?
I think this question is if I could also ask you.
No, I'm asking you. I ask
Probably
people are you a womanizer?
People think most of my songs are related to
Fatia.
But I have songs that mainly deal with issues apart from the romantic side of me.
But you have not answered my question. Are you a womanizer?
I cannot afford to be another way too. So, in as much I am a man, definitely I could have a taste of being a woman, to taste a womanical lifestyle. But I'm growing up. I'm not growing younger. So, at a point in time, you realized you don't just need to give out too much your energy trying to chase women here and there, but it's part and parcel of every journey as long as you are a man.
At the passion dome. Your songs are,
that makes you feel.
So somebody says, okay, so now you're saying that now you have grown 25 years in music, you're advanced in age, so the things of the past are gone. But did you used to be a womanizer?
Of course. The relatives, you don't really need to go for them.
Okay, they come to
you. I mean,
you.
the point is, not basically they come for you, but this is just a human nature. You see, two things involved. We are negative and positive. So if a woman is negative, we are the positive. So when there is a little chance of attraction, it could happen.
I see.
It's not just like we don't have a choice. We also have a choice to be able to know who you're going for. That is the issue.
You've lived out there in Europe and then in Ghana as well. In terms of music rights, I'm talking Gamro and the systems that work out there. Have you been happy with how it's been handled in this country?
It's so provocative. And even in as much you try to talk about it, then you become like, it looks like you are stepping in somebody's tails and all that. So here is the thing. I think the music industry over the years has never been the way that I see it in abroad, because just one song can perfect somebody's life in Europe. I met Hideaway. What is love? We live around the same, I think the same vicinity in Düsseldorf. And they have shows and they invite him, and then you could see the man is wait to do just one song.
Just one song.
And I have about, let's say, almost 80 songs. And I'm so struggling.
Can it get better?
I have hope that things will work for the better.
I see. 25, that's your camera, 30 seconds. The world is listening to you. Dada KD, what's on your mind? Tell them.
I hope there's going to be a better tomorrow. So in as much we live, we should love one another, because love rules everywhere.
Love rules everywhere. It's Monday and you should shine. It's 11th of March. We'll see you tomorrow. But know that if you can think it and your heart can believe it, only you can achieve it. My name is Johnny. He's on behalf of the rest of the team. We'll see you tomorrow. But right now we're going to dance. Dada KD is going to teach me how to dance to Mayo, the brand new one. The new dance. Okay.
Go with the beats.
Okay.
Gone are days our music will be like. By this time you can do this.
Hey.
Yes, it's on the meant to Ain't you best in my uncle?